Like, oh, you're an 8.
No, actually. Welcome to episode 4 of the Better Mind podcast powered by NESTRE with Dr. Tommy Shavers and me, Chloe Abbott. Join us on our journey to a better mind. So come curious and leave reframed. Let's get right into it. We have an amazing guest on for today. Her name is Vonda Wright, and I personally am so excited to have her on the show because of all the knowledge that she has as a woman in the orthopedic surgeon space, and she's cracked the code on what it means to live an unbreakable life. We're going to be talking about how to build an unbreakable mindset today. And so we're so excited. Get your popcorn, get your drinks, get comfortable if you're driving. Hello. We are going to dive right into the Better Mind podcast with Dr. Vonda Wright. Let's get right into it. Hello, Vonda.
How are you?
I am so good. So thankful that you've come and joined us on our podcast. You are our first ever guest.
Well, I didn't realize that. What an honor.
Yeah. Because you're awesome like that.
It's also the Mutual Admiration Society, obviously.
I mean,
well, and you know what? I love when I'm around smart people. I mean, I always seek out people smarter than me because it just elevates me. I don't want to be in a room with people that I'm smarter than, because then I'm not learning anything, right? So
see, that's why we all hang out.
I know, it's so good. People don't know, but we coexist within a building, our offices.
Which I didn't even know that for the longest, that you were literally in the Lake Nona Performance.
Yes, my offices overlook the indoor football field. How lucky am I, orthopedic surgeons, that my office overlooks an indoor football field. It's great.
Amazing. So I wanted to get into that a little bit, like how you guys kind of met. I met you through NESTRE.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so like I've been connected with NESTRE now for like almost 4 years. I don't know. And Tommy's always talked about you. Just always talked about Vonda Wright. She's a powerhouse, Vonda Wright. Like, she's amazing. I was like, who is Vonda Wright? And then when I moved here, I was like, oh, that's Vonda Wright.
That's so funny. You're so funny to
Seriously.
say it. We felt the same way around you. All-star athlete. Oh, she's coming on with NESTRE. How lucky did you get?
I want to know how you guys like kind of got introduced though. Like, how did you guys cross paths? What did that look like?
So we got connected. It was kind of like their vision was bringing an all-star team together to do all-star type thing. And then when we connected on a personal level, you know, she started to talk about her vision, what she was doing, what she was building. I shared what we were doing. She was like, this is fascinating. I need to try it. You know, and so she came in, see what we were doing around technology and data and, you know, mental and cognitive fitness.
Yeah.
And it was funny, you know, when she took, you know, our mindset profile, our NESTRE mindset profile. Yeah. And I remember looking at her profile. But before that, you know, she was having this conversation around, she was like, I just need to be transparent. I have a difficult time around individuals who don't challenge me. If there isn't an opportunity to learn, to grow, you know, and then I looked at her mindset profile and I was like, oh, well, I see why.
It's funny you remember that.
Yeah. It's like, I see why. She's like, no, but understand. I said, no, I already understand.
I get it.
You know, your profile is one that is all about pursuing challenges, taking on new opportunities, finding rigor and novelty and experiences. And she was like, that's me.
But you know what, and we can go into more about what that means on a day-to-day basis, but that verbalizing the frustration that I felt a lot of times helped me give grace in the way I interact with other people. And I'm going to explain that because I got to explain it carefully or people are going to think I'm a terrible person. I assumed that all brains were the same. And that if my brain were a steel trap in certain areas, like, listen, I'm going to freely admit, people, I barely know how to balance my checkbook, nor do I have any interest in that, right?
Agreed.
Like, there's a lot of subjects, like the curtains in my house, no interest. I have no idea. But in certain things, I just want people to keep up. I thought most brains had the same capacity. In the same areas. I was so wrong, right? So uneducated because there's so many brilliant people in areas that I have no ability in. But what that would do is I would be frustrated when somebody wasn't keeping up with me in the subject that I knew, in my tiny little lane.
Yeah.
And so I didn't extend a lot of grace. I would just like, okay, you're not keeping up. I'm
actually not associating
right
anymore.
But then when I came to a better understanding, and part of this is living in midlife and having gone through menopause, living in a really, really the most authentic place in my whole life, and learning more about the way my brain worked from NESTRE, like, oh, I'm like 9,000% alpha. It helped me extend grace, realizing that all brains are so individual and so different. I can't assign a category. Somebody's going to be better, so much better. I've got really good emotional quotient as it comes to my patients. Yeah. But in real life, I'm like, can you please keep up? Yeah. Yeah. And it's just interesting, the self-discovery that comes from a system that was developed because of your own story, right? And your own brain. So I didn't remember what you just said, but now that you've brought that back to my mind, it's a critical thing, because between the authenticity of living post-menopause, the authenticity of you saying, the reason you think like this is because this is how your brain works. And my daughter Isabella also went through your program, and she is a teen ambassador. Her saying to me, Mama, your ego will not let you be wrong. Those three factors really opened up my mindset, and I'm living in a deeper, more understanding of the world place than I had this has been a little while ago right now, but 50 prior years.
We said a lot, like, humans are amazing. What we try to find out and discover is what makes you in the unique ways. If you think about it like a dance, you start to realize who leads the dance at what point. We would hear it a lot around high performance, that is this mindset, is this mindset. We're like, no, individuals can be elite in their own unique way. Mm-hmm. And once you can see that, quantify that, it really changes things. And so I appreciate you sharing that.
So I really want to get into you to really help set the scene for our viewers who don't know you, our listeners who aren't sure of, like, oh, who is Vonda Wright? She is releasing a book August 26th. Mm-hmm. August 26th, Unbreakable. And it is this incredible book that I have read it, and it's a wonderful read. And in the book, she talks a lot about what she's been through, kind of sets the scene on her own life. So you were 30 when you had this, in your 30s, when you had this whirlwind of an experience, finishing medical school, completing 7-year surgical residency, building a career in orthopedic research and surgery, pushed through 40-hour shifts. When this part of the book, it reminded me of Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, say that again. 40-hour shifts, not 40-hour weeks. No, 40-hour shifts.
Like, you don't go home.
No, you do not.
It was giving Grey's Anatomy.
Well, darling, it's not that fun.
In real life.
It is not Grey's Anatomy. People ask me all the time, do you watch Grey's Anatomy? I'm like, it's not that fun.
It's not.
They look like they have the best time. The residents.
Of course they did. It's TV. So doctors sometimes don't watch medical shows because they're like, that's not real. No. I watch a lot of cop shows, to which the cops say, that's not real. No.
You're like,
but
what?
I know. So I don't want to burst anybody's bubble. It's not Grey's, but it was. I mean, I wouldn't not have done it.
Yeah.
Maybe I wouldn't do it again. Gave up my whole youth to do it, but I would not have done it. I mean, I'm thankful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, and then you go into how, in your 40s is when, like, a lot of things shifted for you, a new chapter, you got in the best shape of your life. Mm-hmm. Like, you said 19% body fat training for the triathlons. Like, which, once again, I'm like, runners understand this. Like, when you run for a living, it's like optionally doing triathlons, marathons, 10Ks, 3Ks, 5Ks. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but, like, I don't jump at the opportunity to just,
it's because going to work for you. For me, it was just how I chose. I don't do well without goals. Okay. So just running for the run of it, that I have to be training for something. Yeah. So whether it's a PR in the park or a marathon, I just don't work without goals.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. It's also very profound. I'm sorry, I just got to give her some more juice because it was wonderful. You landed your dream job at one of the best orthopedic surgery departments in the country.
University of Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm.
Became head team doctor for a Division I football team.
Yeah, how about that? In a time, it's more common now, but we're talking early 2000s. I've been around a very long time, and I only knew of my partner, Robin West, who's brilliant. She practices in Washington, D.C., was the assistant football doctor for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I was the head football doctor for the Pittsburgh Panthers. And I didn't know of Mary Lloyd Ireland. Let's call her out if I'm going to, because I'm going to get a lot of feedback about this. But she probably did this first, but at the time I was doing it, I could count on 3 fingers women at that high level taking care of men's teams. Yeah. Now there are more. Right. But at the time there wasn't. So that's why I say arguably one of the best jobs in sports medicine in the country for a woman, for anybody. It's an honor as a man to take care of that level team.
Thank you for adding juice to that, because it's an incredible feat, like a male-led industry that you dominated and led in your own way and then continue to build off of that.
Yeah, so if anybody needs to know how to function in a man's world, I gotcha. You just call me, I'll tell you. Because communication is different. I love men, honestly, but communication is different. Standards of play are different, and so I got you.
I just believe in the whole thing around women and men, they play specific roles and they complement each other.
I think it just speaks to who you are as a high performer in general, elite mindset. When I saw the title of the book, I was like,
obviously.
Unbreakable. And, I wanted to at least talk a little bit about that. Tell me what
I was thinking.
What you were thinking.
So, you know what? I've written a lot of books, Fitness After 40, Guide to Thrive, and they were all mindset and exercise books. So people would assume, especially because the publisher put 6-week program. Yes, there is an entire midsection on how I prescribe mobility and exercise for midlife women. Mm-hmm. It is different than we did when we were younger, and it's different from men, right? So it's there. It's actually what I do for people. But I think equally important parts of the book is that Unbreakable is a nod to the fact that I'm an orthopedic surgeon. I don't want you to break, but if you do, I've got you. It is a nod to bones. However, it is meant to be a mindset pivot. Yeah. This book, when you close the book, I want you to have a completely different perspective on today and the future, because there is a myth in this country that aging is an inevitable decline from the vitality of youth to decrepancy. And if we don't step in front of it, it can be. There is also still a culture, although I'm so encouraged with what I see pivoting out in the world, there's still a culture of worshiping ourselves when we were 20 or 25. And that's fine. It was cool to be that young, but I would never go back.
I'm not going back.
I'm so not going back. I had too much education, too much heartbreak, too much starvation on somebody else's couch or in a professor's couch or wherever I lived at that time. I'm not going back, even though physically it was so easy. Because once you grow into your brain, once you have the confidence that comes with success, once you figure a few things out, you can take this time and pivot it knowing that the best can yet.
100%.
That's really what I'm trying to do here.
Yeah.
So there's a chapter in the beginning about what do you value? What is your mindset? How can we set goals around that? And you and I have talked about that a lot. And then in the end, there's a chapter about training mental hardiness, meaning attitudes. That's a huge part of the book that doesn't come out if you just stop at the front cover that says 6-week program.
You're right. People say, hey, would you go back and play, ball? Nope. Could you go back and do it? No, I'm not going back. You kind of alluded to it. My mindset is your best year should be your next year. The best year is going to be the next year. As I continue to grow, I'm just going to keep getting better.
Better and better, yes.
It takes intentionality around that. And so what if individuals approached life with an unbreakable mindset?
That's right.
What are the possibilities of the things they can accomplish if they developed an unbreakable mindset? And we've seen and heard of stories of individuals who have, either intuitively or life's adversity, forged this unbreakable mindset. But we also, for everyday individuals, we can develop it. We can.
Oh, it's a trainable.
100%.
Completely trainable. And that can be done in so many ways. One of the things I learned from NESTRE that I still don't fully understand, but it makes so much sense to me, is when you do the same thing over and over again, it's no longer challenging to the brain and you become less good at it, because your brain's not devoting enough energy to that pathway. So you have to mix it up to reinvigorate the brain, the pathway. And so as a surgeon, if I do the same thing for 40 years, my brain is going to devote very little energy to doing that. And I'm still going to be able to do it. But if I changed a little bit of what I did, took a different pathway, thought about it in a different way, my brain would be forced to put more energy because it's not routine anymore.
Right.
And I'm going to give you an example of that. I'm a sports surgeon, and so that's all the arthroscopy, right? For 30, that's an exaggeration, 20 years, because I was a nurse first. I always include that. But 20 years, we've been doing teeny tiny incisions this big. But I was gifted with very good hands. And the connection between my brain and my hands, I can see something and I can make it with my hands. It's just the way my brain works, right? And so it wasn't that any day was easy. It's not that I didn't pay attention, but it kind of was. Until I decided to challenge my brain with a new skill. So I no longer, for things like meniscus surgery, meniscus repair, certain kinds of arthritis surgery, certain kinds of staging procedures of the knee, I no longer cut people at all. There's a new technology that forced me to retrain my brain and my hands that I only use needles.
Oh, wow.
So there's no incisions. There's just a little point of entry that looks like a pencil lead. It's not the same instrumentation. It doesn't feel the same way in my hands. The framework of triangulating, meaning in a space, like in a box, you can't see in the box, you can only see on a screen. In a box, you must make two instruments meet. That's the same, but it's so different. It's retraining. And so it took, even though I've been doing this so long, it took me investing more time with my brain to revitalize those pathways. Instead of doing the same thing I've done for 20 years, now I'm taking the foundation of what I know and reapplying it in a different technology, which, by the way, I'm one of the only people in Florida doing it.
Period.
But it's so good for my patients.
Period.
Period. It's so good for my patients because there's no general anesthesia, doesn't knock your brain out. There is no narcotics, doesn't knock your brain out, and you recover almost immediately. And bonus, I don't tell my patients this when I'm telling them about it, it has forced my brain to learn a new skill that is keeping me continually vital instead of bored brain.
I love it. I love it. And I mean, what Vonda's saying around, I mean, she's just telling like it is. She's like, I'm gifted with my hands. Well, we mapped her brain, and we can confirm this
I'm not making it up.
Real
Yeah.
data. We were looking at the data. We're like, imagine having data around like real Madden video game ratings, like for your surgeon. Like, imagine being able to go, I mean, that's cool. They went to this school and that school, but I want to know what their hands are like. There can be a future where if I want to pick a surgeon, listen.
I want that connection. Right.
I am comfortable.
How are their hands?
You know, look, we're building some things to walk through, doing all of that with NESTRE. I can tell you that there are individuals that I'm like, you need a surgery? I got you. I know someone whose skills I can verify. When Vonda, came, it was around this conversation of like, things have gotten pretty easy for me to do, so it doesn't take much effort. And what we don't understand is like we have this world of specialization, right? Where we go, we do something a lot, it becomes automated. In our minds, we call that mastery, right? I've mastered this thing. But what we don't think about is internally, what does that process look like for the brain? Where the more you've done it, the more automated it is, the less resources it takes to do it. And then you do that over a long period of time, you just think you're just in this mastery state, when really you're in this declining resource allocation state, because the brain is like, oh, that didn't take much for you to do. Okay, we're just going to, take those resources, put them somewhere else. If you want to have resiliency over time, as our guy Joe the Senate talks about, right? Shout out to Joe.
We're all in the same ecosystem. That's why he's on our mind. We all kind of live in Lake Nona.
To get this unbreakable mind, you have to keep doing
challenging
hard
it.
things. You have to
do hard things.
Because challenge is a manual demand on the mind and the brain to allocate resources. And that's what we really want individuals to think about. You can develop an unbreakable mind.
Absolutely. And in a physical brain, right, we're talking about energy states and pathways and neurons of the physical mind. But in doing so, here's another example that you can weave together. Joe bugged me until almost like, if you live in Lake Nona, you must do a Spartan race. I'm like, okay, because we're all friends. And if I don't do one, I'm not. So I was 56 when I first did one. And I had never done one, not because I didn't think I could get through 3.2 miles of whatever, but because I didn't want to get hurt. And I don't know how to climb a wall, and I don't climb a rope, and blah, blah, all these mental things, right? And so once I agreed and committed, because remember, I don't do anything without a goal, so I bought the friggin' ticket. Actually, he gave me the ticket. I put it on the calendar, and then I recruited 10 medical students to do it with me, because then I can't not show up.
You're locked in.
I am so locked in.
In.
Everybody knows if I don't show up. But then it was that mental work of getting over okay, you're going to figure this out. You figured out hard things before. I started thinking through the obstacles that I knew. I'm thinking, okay, to start the race, I have to get over a 6-foot wall. Well, I'm 5-something, so I'm not just hopping up on this thing. And I started thinking through, visualizing, how am I going to get over that wall? There's no rules, except you can't go around it. And if you go around it, you have to burpee. Like, nobody wants that. So I thought about the wall. How am I going to get up on the wall, right? And then there's this other thing where there's sandbags that are almost as much as I weigh, hooked to a pulley 30 feet up, and you got to pull the rope to pull the sandbag up and then lower it. Like, how am I going to do that? Then there's this other thing, like a 30-foot mountain on a net that you have to climb up the net, swing your leg over and not fall off or fall through. And so I'm thinking through all these things, but you know what it forced me to do is problem solve in a different way.
Yeah.
Because on a daily basis, I don't think about how to do those things.
Right.
But there's a 6-foot wall that you got to get over to even start the race. I'm like, I can't push myself up because I'm too short. But there's this 2x4 on the side. So I'm going to wedge myself in there. I'm going to use it. I'm problem solving. I'm going to use this tool that's attached to the thing. Then I'm going to swing over and I can jump down 6 feet. No one's going to get hurt. Or how am I going to pull this giant sandbag that weighs almost as much as me? Well, what I did was I grabbed the rope and I laid down on the ground, knowing that my weight was going to pull this thing. And then I'd pull it up, pull myself up, and I'd lay down again.
That's right.
That is no skill that I was ever trained to do.
She was creating a human lever in real time.
That's right. So all I'm saying is this mental thing of having to figure stuff out not only challenged me to problem solve in a way I don't problem solve, or even, how am I carrying 40 pounds of sand up 10,000 stairs? Well, first I do it here, and then I do it here, and then I strap it on like on my back like a child, and then I hold it like my grandson. And we're just working our way through the mental, how am I going to get this thing up there within the constraints of my physical body? But this is so fascinating to me because it forces me to problem solve in a way that I never problem solve and use brain pathways that I never use to figure things out. But that, at the end of that race, my brain had figured out how to do hard things that I had never done before. Yeah. And I walked away from that with like 6 months worth of bad.
100%.
Like,
all the juice.
Bring it on, people, because I'm figuring this out. And it's less physical than mental. But I think people who stop challenging themselves to do hard things are so ritualized that there's no blips in the brain, maybe.
Well, people mistake pain as an indicator to not move forward.
We talked about that a little bit on
And
the last podcast.
yeah, and that's a part of what this problem is. Unless you're like in sports that are tough, physical, and things of that nature, but like this understanding that pain is just an indicator, and especially if you're trying to grow in something. We use the term growing pains.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
More likely than not, especially if you're challenging yourself, pain is an indicator of this is the point at which growth is now happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if we think that and have that kind of mindset, then you start going, wait a minute. Our team laughs at me a ton because I say this, and they're like, that makes so much sense, and it sounds just so dumb. But it's like the only way to work hard is by doing hard work. If it's easy, it's not work. It's not hard work.
No.
You can't grow. There's no forced growth there. And so I think for people to understand that pain is a huge part of the process, whether it's physical pain, whether it's mental exertion, that it's actually an indicator that you're getting better. Push through the pain, and now your mind adapts, your body adapts, because it goes, oh, this is what it took to do this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, we got you next time. Now we're going to give you more cognitive juice, more exactly. And now you're just increasing your ability to become unbreakable. I love it.
And I think that the way this applies, because I don't want people listening to think that this only applies to athletes or me doing Spartan races or crazy stuff like that.
Right.
If I apply this to midlife women, it's hard to lose your estrogen, and the good news is you can totally master this time of life. I used to summarize this transition, which I call the menolescence. It's like adolescence except reverse. You get your hormones and it's chaos, and you lose your hormones, it's chaos. But this transition of menolescence is hard. But many of us, and I used to call it menopause mystery, and now I'm in midlife mastery. I have mastered this through hard work. But I think that if we pivot the mindset around this midlife transition, many of us that have gone through it are living our best lives. We're more authentic, we're smarter, we're calmer. Yeah. We see the future in a very different way. But had we not had the pain, physical, mental, social, spiritual pain, to pivot into what most of us feel like our best selves, the wisest we've ever been, the most authentic we've ever been, without the pain, without the growing pains, without the menolescence transition, we might have just been spinning along like we were forever, which was fine. But then you devote less energy to it. Right. And it's at least it's not as exciting, and you never reach this more developed place. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. I mean, we were made with the mental, cognitive, and physical capacity to become unbreakable. And if we think about it that way, and understanding that, like, the ability to push through the pain, you know, we talked about it on one of the episodes, you know, Chloe, your best year was done running on an injured leg. Yeah. You know, a lot of what Vonda just alluded to, right? But like, you came out better in all aspects.
Not just track.
In all aspects. It was like, you know,
yeah.
Like you came out of that at a different level.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I think something that's really cool, I want to tie your book into this, because I loved how you talked about something very similar to what Tommy's talked about. It's like your brain is the only entity that believes the story that you tell it.
Yes, that's right.
But you talk about that in your book too, around like the stories that you were telling yourself and how that changed the way that you lived your life versus listening to the story that people would tell you about your experience, your circumstance, your pregnancy at 40, like your father having a lifestyle that could have gone differently if, you know, he lived the way that his parents were living. Sure. And so I think, like, I kind of want to talk about that, the story that we tell ourselves. It's never too late, you know.
It is
like,
never too late.
Unbreakable mindset is something that can be done at any stage of life, depending on the story you tell yourself.
Well, and I don't know if other people do this. I have always done this. And even when I wasn't cognizant that you can tell your brain what to think, I've always done this. But I don't do it as much now, thankfully. But when I was younger, I would ruminate a lot. Meaning I would think about things a lot and catastrophize. I just think it was a stage of life I was in. What if? I can't control what it's going to happen. And I would start, I call it now spinning out, meaning I just was thinking too much. I have always, however, been able to recognize that and say, I'm not going to think about that anymore, and just stop the brain buzz surrounding a topic that makes me feel anxious, and tell myself, I'm going to think in this way, and somehow soothe myself, right? Because it's not that the circumstance changed. I didn't get any more control, but I refuse to think about it in that way, and I'm going to reframe it for my brain and suggest something else. And it didn't mean that it didn't come back, but I refuse to just sit there and let that happen, because I'm going to tell my brain how I'm going to feel about that. And I don't know if that's what elite athletes do when they're visualizing. But even now, I'm sleeping like a baby, people. We have mastered midlife sleeping, and I'm happy to tell you how to do that.
Hey.
But because I'm sleeping so well, I remember my dreams. And I don't like that because it disturbs me. But even in the middle of the night in a dream, it's like, for instance, I'm reading this. I don't read fiction, but I met this fiction author who's a world seller, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to read his book. But it's all like sci-fi gore stuff. I'm like, what am I doing reading? Whatever. I read the book. I started having dreams. Like my brain's processing this war that's going on. But even in my dreams, if I feel threatened, or I'm going down a road I don't like, or emotional trauma, I'm processing something that's happened to me and I don't like it, somewhere in my brain, I'll wake myself up.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not going there.
Yeah.
This is not real. My brain is doing this.
Yeah.
I'm telling my brain where we're going to go.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
I mean,
you
it
can
is.
tell your
Listen,
brain.
My kids can tell you. I've told them for a long time. I'm like, oh, I control my dreams.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'll get in and I'm like,
Nah.
no, this is weird.
That's
and
right.
I'm out.
Yes, exactly. Instead of being chased, I'm like, okay, really?
Yeah.
I'm out.
Instead of being chased.
Yeah. No,
Stop
we're
it.
not doing this.
Like, just
I'm
stop.
out. And I'm up.
I mean, it doesn't always have to be about, I think that we stop our dreams is funny, but
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it for a long
forever.
time. Yeah.
But even in daily situations, when you come up against something that can be categorized as control, sometimes we can spin out about not having control.
Yeah.
It's going to happen to us. Or we can say, okay, what's the next thing I can control? And from that, add some energy to it and get to the next step. I find sometimes, especially in midlife, we think, oh my God, I can't control this. I can't control the way my hormones are feeling. I can't control but what can I control? I can control if I learn to lift heavy. And therefore I can control whether I choose an anti-inflammatory diet, meaning, I'm sorry, people, no added sugar and a variety of other good things, which affects your brain. So do we, even in a non-dream scenario, how we view control, what we devote energy to, is it going to be spinning out, or is it just taking the next little controlled step?
Imagine, and this is what we want, from a NESTRE standpoint, like, it's this concept that we want people to anchor on. Imagine if with every adversity you said, I was built for this. And understand, we want people to understand we're not trying to sound, allegorical or sound, we're not trying to sound pretty. This is actually the science of being a human. No, you were actually built
To problem solve.
You
Love
were
that.
actually built
Mm-hmm.
for adaptation.
Yeah.
You were actually built with the capacity to get stronger. We were built, whatever we experience in life, we were built for it. And if we understood that fundamental truth, it changes how we see the things that we go through.
Yeah.
And just how powerful would it be if we just stopped and was like, you know what? Oh, I was built for
It takes
this.
away the passivity that sometimes happens, right? Oh, this is happening to me. Well, okay, it may be happening, but I was built to solve this.
100%.
My brain was built to solve it. Mm-hmm. My body was built to adjust. Some of the first when I first started doing aging research in 2003, when I was doing the background reading, some of the very first research that I read was done in 90-year-old men in a nursing home. And all they did was a bunch of chair exercises at a time when you would think that we're done, we're spent. There's no, we are built for adaptation.
Built for it.
And their bodies learned, and they became 150% more functional, meaning getting up from a chair and feeding yourself.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm going to start saying that every day. We're built for this.
We're built
What do you
for
expect? We're built for this.
Listen, when they told me, and Chloe can allude, when we first started working together, she was telling me all the, going through this and this and this, and I was just listening like, yep. And she was like, okay, this is weird.
Like, you're not phased. You're not like freaking out with me. You're not like, oh my gosh, yeah, that sucks. Yeah. Like it was none of that. It was like, okay, so let's go.
Here we go. And a part of it was,
that was hard.
I remember sitting in the office and, having medical professionals tell me about my head injuries, right? And the decline I was going to continue to experience because I was experiencing it. But the thought I had was, okay, if they're saying that my brain is injured, then it means my brain was built with the capacity to be injured.
It's not a normal thought.
Because otherwise, I'm like, if they're telling me it's injured, that means that it has the ability, it was built to be injured.
But then,
well, if it was built to be injured, then that naturally tells me that it was built with the capacity
to repair.
Yes. And that was the moment for me that changed everything. The fact that I was told, no, you're injured. And I was like, wait, so if that's possible, then that means the other is possible as well. So I was built for positive or negative adaptation. So I'm just going to now shift this focus to now how do I build it back better? And when we would have the conversations, it was around this mindset of understanding, you're built for this. And I would say it often, like, I'm not just hyping you up. You are pretty good, but I'm not hyping you up. I'm telling you an actual truth, right? Yeah. And once that started to click in, because most people think it's this kind of like super elite place you have to get your mind to trick yourself or think, I'm better than, no, it's a practical part of who we are.
Yeah.
And if we operate that way, the ability to become unbreakable is what we were actually built
to do.
Yeah.
That's right. So if we're not, then what's the problem?
Yes. That.
Well, do you think, let me ask you this question. Do you think that even people born with high physical capacity, or in medicine we call it, they've got this protoplasm, like they're built for this. Do you think that maybe even if you have a high physical capacity that you were born with, that it is the difference between understanding the fact that you were built to overcome adversity that differentiates good athletes from great athletes? Or is it all physical?
No. It's absolutely not all physical. I mean, it's this combination. Most of our great athletes are intuitively tapping into this, I was built for this mindset. I'm not a believer in you can be whatever you want. That's, you can be the best version of you. And that should be the goal. How do I become my GOAT? How do I become the greatest me of all time? Right? And appreciate that. Right? Because there's going to be somebody bigger, faster, stronger, smarter. That's fine. Did I crush my lane? Right? And so, but for most, we want to take something that's been kind of intuitive to where only a few operate in it. And even for them, a lot of times, they don't even have the language. Some of the most elite, they don't have the language to describe what separates them from others. And we're saying we understand how and why, that, you know, if you can tap into and access the best parts of you in moments that matter, it'll separate you from the rest. And so a part of what we want to do is we want to kind of demystify greatness by saying, you know, here's what the greats intuitively do.
And
Now,
here's how you use it.
Now you can intentionally do it.
Yeah.
Well, I love that framework, because I talk about, oh, you know what, I said this word to you, and now you make fun of me for it. But this is how far we go back. Like, nothing is... Tommy may be the only person who feels comfortable making fun of me. However, sounds about right. It's okay. I embrace this. That is how I apply training programs, or people coming to me wanting this ethereal longevity. I apply physical work with them, because I work with a lot of mere mortals, not high performers anymore, right? I mean, I have lots of high performers in my past and some now, but lots of people now are like me. I'm a mere mortal athlete. My PR is 7:44. It's not 5:44, right? So,
Just minimizing.
I'm not. I'm realistic.
It's really great. No,
It's a good time. It was. I don't do that anymore. It was a good time. It was a good time.
She's gonna keep doing it. I'm not gonna. It's
But
fine.
the point being that what you're saying is that, or maybe you're not saying, but what I'm saying is, in the same way you're saying that we can apply peak performance principles that peak performers just do intuitively to mere mortals. That's what I do within the physical
100%.
prescription. I'm like, okay, we're going to optimize your health.
Yes.
And then I'm going to apply to you what we have always done for our peak performing pro athletes, because mere mortals don't do what pros do. So we're going to apply that to you physically. That's what you're saying mentally, is that they just do it, but we're now going to be capable of doing it for your brain.
100%. And then what you realize, though, is you start to realize when you unlock that, you start to realize that, you know what, we're all actually supermen and women.
Super athletes.
We all are. Yeah. We all are everyday performers. We all have the capacity to be elite in the areas of life that we pursue, that we challenge ourselves in. And it's one of the things that when individuals come to NESTRE, the first thing we want to find out is what's your GOAT? What makes you elite? Let us show you your recipe through data. And when people walk out, like, they walk out with this newfound confidence around, I knew I was really good at this, but now I can see
what your brain's doing.
I can see.
Do you think you can only be good in one lane? And let me tell you why I'm selfishly asking. Because I am constantly told now that I should have chosen a lane 30 years ago. Like, choose a lane and become the best in that lane. And I say, I don't have one lane, and I refuse to do that. But I think they may have been right. Can you only be the GOAT at one thing? Because I'm good at a lot of things, but I'm not the best at... I am high achieving in a bunch of things, but I'm not a world-class whatever sprinter. And I would have never been. With these legs, I would have never been. But can we only be one thing? Or am I going to cling to that I can be good at many things, but not the GOAT at everything?
So, okay. So this is good. This is really good. All right.
Tommy's
okay.
Excited.
So
you got him excited.
Good.
All right. So if you think about how we've talked about this conversation about GOAT or great or go be greatest, it's driven more from our organizational management indoctrination that we built in our society. We have to find We have to find some way to fit you somewhere.
To make other people comfortable?
So we can move you down this path of being able to manage. It was this kind of this, this conveyor belt, assembly line civilization. We've kind of gotten into this, hey, pick a path, choose your path, and you can only do.
Be the best in one path.
Right. How we define best has to be more broad. And what I mean by that, like, a part of what makes you your GOAT is you can do more things at an elite level than most people can do. And that in and of itself is a GOAT status.
Is a thing. A GOAT thing.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And, I remember years ago, the whole LeBron James, Michael Jordan debate, who's the greatest, and we were like, I'm not touching that. That separates people. But I'll never forget, it was a pregame, and I think it was Charles Barkley or someone. They were on a pregame, and they were talking about LeBron James, and I'll never forget. And they said it was almost in a critique, but they didn't. I don't know if people paid attention to it. They were like, look, LeBron is going to have to decide who he wants to be today, because he has to decide. Do you want to be MJ or do you want to be Magic? Do you want to be MJ today or do you want to be Magic Johnson? LeBron has to decide. And I was like, did you hear what you just said? You just said this athlete has the ability to choose to either be a Michael Jordan level of player or a Magic Johnson level of player. Who have we ever said that someone has the ability to choose between two of the greatest ever? That in and of itself is a unique greatness. And so, but he was constantly being knocked because when we look at Mike is distinct in his greatness. When you look at Magic, Magic Johnson was very distinct in his greatness. Here we have someone that's displaying the capacity of both, and we're like,
we need to put him in a framework.
We need to,
because my instant reaction to that is, what the F? Why does he have to choose? But why would he choose?
The ability, the part that I was like, wait, you guys missed the amazing part of what you just said.
That he has the capacity.
He is so great.
Good. Yeah.
That he, unlike anyone else, you've never said this about anybody else. Like, you wouldn't say MJ would choose to be Magic Johnson or Magic Johnson could choose to be MJ, but you're saying LeBron James needs to choose. This statement in of itself says how unique his greatness is. And that's the part that I think we miss when we try to put individuals in boxes, that everyone can get to their GOAT differently. Some are really precision of what they do. Some have this multi-ability to do a lot of things in that way. Some are really strategic and calculated and can create phenomenal things. But it's giving people the space to find their own GOAT, to find what makes them unique. And that's the part that I love, that through his career, he kind of stood on that, no, I'm going to operate in the way I operate, and in critical moments, I'm still going to pass the ball. Other people may not think that's what you do, but I'm wired uniquely to function in this way. And so that's a phenomenal question and thought. And I think when we work with people, it's one of the things we focus on so much is, wait, let's not compare you. Let's discover your unique ability to be great, so you can know how to tap into the best version of you in moments that matter.
Well, I love that. And it's very encouraging to me in this place where I am, in the period surrounding releasing a book, if you want it to do well, is night and day. It's working all the time. And so as I'm doing that, and it's how I function. I mean, I function best at back to back to back. I just do.
Yeah.
I just do.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
me
so,
too. Yeah.
we're just going. I need to do that. I'm not calm when I'm not doing that because there's something else to do.
Oh, wow.
But very well-meaning people are checking in on me all the time. Like, are you sure you want to accept that? Are you okay? This is, and I love their caretaking of me. But my response is, I will tell you when I need a break, or I will take a break.
Yeah.
I mean, I just will sit on the couch with Peter like I did last night, watch some there was this poor kid was for the 14th time in a couple years, second or third in a golf tournament. We watched that unfold, right? I will do that break when I need it. I will not accept something if it's too much, but I think the caretaking people are just trying to make sure I'm okay and not over-committing.
Sure.
I know my capacity.
100%. And it's unique. And a part of that challenge is it's rare when individuals have almost this, I don't want to say unlimited capacity, but this ability to recruit and re-recruit resources to be phenomenal in these
different avenues
in continuous ways. And I'm the same way. Like I get the, are you okay? You're doing a lot.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you should take a break.
Yeah.
And I go, I appreciate that. I'm good.
Right. I'm good. I'll tell you when I'm not.
I'm locked in.
Yeah.
And it's individuals when they're around you enough to trust the you know how you operate and know, but it's unique. It's unique in that way.
And I think maybe, and I don't want to speak for you, but we all recharge in different ways.
100%,
like some people, and this is so not me, need to go out into a crowded room of people to recharge. So not me. I need a bit of quiet time, maybe in the middle of an event where I'm speaking. I just need that quiet. Or, frankly, I'm sitting here feeling like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever to have this conversation with you two. I'm so charged up.
Yes.
I'm going to be flying on this for the next week because I'm having smart, savvy conversation about topics that I care about and I don't get to talk about all the time. Yeah. So it's funny. I mean, I think different people have different capacities, charge up points, plugs in the wall. Yeah. And
I love it that you're saying that. Like, you know, I remember hearing someone, they were, you know, in this training thing, you know, telling individuals like, hey, if you don't get X amount of hours of sleep, you're crushing yourself. Like, it's bad. And I'm like, everyone's recharge is different and unique. And so I'm a 5-hour, no alarm, auto wake up. My battery's recharged in 5 hours. And at that moment I wake up, my kid's joking around. I was just telling my son the other day, he was like, it takes me 15 minutes just to realize I'm awake. That's what my son was like. And I'm
he's
like,
a teenager though. That's kind of his stage in life.
I immediately wake up and could solve some of the world's most challenging problems as soon as my eyes open. It's like, I'm up and it's on.
I'm ready to work.
It's on.
Yeah.
You know, but to your point, like, rigorous conversations recharge me. You know, I need some people I can go and have some debates with. I need some people I can go and listen to, and the knowledge or the insights they drop just like sparks this. Yeah. Oh, that's good. This is not just about sport.
Yeah.
You know, this is about.
It's never been about sports.
100%. Yeah.
Tommy helped me reframe that because for a while I was like, I've never had a real job. What am I going to do after track? And Tommy was like, you had a job and it was track and you were good enough that that's all you did. I will say I feel like I'm starting to, get into a place though of like understanding how that, you know, reflects in anyone's life, I guess. Where like I think because that's the conversation now that, you know, working with NESTRE, it's like how we can help people. And to your point, like not everybody is an athlete, and people when they hear athlete they're like, oh,
not me, that's not for me.
Yeah. Or like even like, you know, with aging, longevity, someone like me, 26, 27, like, oh, I'm not there yet.
If you want, this is what I try to portray to people, because if you want to do what you want to do when you want to do it for frigging ever, it starts now. Because what happens is we get busier and busier and more commitments, and it's easy, and we think it's always going to be easy. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
And so we let ourselves go. And we don't establish the standards of lifestyle behavior that is going to make us I'm 58, do what I want to do when I want to do it. I posted yesterday a bunch of box jumping, which I just do because I've got to maintain my type 2 muscle fibers. But I added something new people hadn't seen me do before, which is sitting on a box, using ground reactive forces to jump on a bigger box, right? It's a thing, right?
Yeah. Yes, it's good for you.
The comments I got about, oh my God, I could never jump, from women my age, I say, number one, you can. Let's just start with a lower box. You don't have to do a 24, 30-inch box. But if you want to do what you want to do when you want to do it and not be told what to do by some nursing home attendant, it starts in our 30s. I call it the critical decade between 35 and 45 because we've lived enough life. Hopefully we've learned a little bit about ourselves, but in that decade you still have youthful-ish stem cells. You still have hormones, whether you're men or women. You still have your youthful equipment.
Yeah.
But if we don't start reinvesting in that, it's like a I don't even know, I'm not a car person. The highest car, the most fancy car. If you don't maintain that, it's still going to rust out in the garage, right?
Yeah.
So you may not be thinking about it at 26, but by the time you're in your 30s, it's time, right? Because by the time you hit 40, we got to get in front of this, or you're not going to be able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. And for an alpha like me, that is paramount.
100%. But I mean, we don't think about it this way. We see it in sports and kind of corporate and things of that nature. Like, advancing in life only gets harder.
It's not for sissies.
It's
Tommy,
like if you
aging is not for sissies.
I mean, whether you want to, if you think about life as levels of degrees of difficulty, we try to get people to understand, like, as life gets harder, you're supposed to get better. You're supposed to get stronger. You're supposed to continue to match the capacity that's necessary for the phase and stage of life you're in.
I love that.
And if you're not being intentional about that,
you'll lose it.
You're gonna lose it. And this, pay now or pay later. Like, there's
today.
There's a price to pay. Running the 400 meters is in track is brutal.
So brutal.
It's brutal.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
And it's like, it's fun as in not fun.
It's fun when you're crushing it.
Yeah, 100%. Like,
honestly, it's fun when you're, whatever. Let's continue.
But you like,
it's rewarding.
In order to get the reward, you have to put in the work.
Yeah.
Like, you have to feel the pain in order to go out there and to perform.
Yep.
And so we're trying to get people to understand, similar to what you're doing, and I think it's amazing, is, pain is part of the process. You have to be intentional about moving through the pain in order to perform, and not lying to yourself, because actually you're incorrect when you're saying, I can't. Mm-hmm. In fact, no. Not only can you have the capacity. You were built to go in either direction. And if you're not moving forward, you're moving backward by default. And so not only can you get better, you can get worse.
Yeah.
And if you understand that logic, it changes how we move.
Well, and it reminds me, as you're talking and thinking about you, don't let me speak for you, but you expected the pain. You expected, as you're coming past 220, rounding 330, that if you're going to kick, you're going to feel it. You expected. It's not like, oh my God, that hurts. Yeah. What am I going to do with that? Yeah. Oh my God, I never expected it to get harder.
Right.
You're like, this is where it gets hard.
Lock in.
I'm going to lock in. I know what to do with this pain. And I think that's not, well, people don't do that in life.
No.
They think the whole life is going to be easy.
No.
And then you lose brain power and the tracks don't invest time. Isn't that a pivot of mindset?
We can tell you, if you want life to be easy, then do life hard.
Oh, yeah.
If you want life to be hard, then do life easy.
Keep doing easy things and avoiding
Like,
what you don't want to do.
I mean, because when you do hard, you adapt mentally, cognitively, physically. You get stronger.
Yeah.
Which gives you the capacity to do more hard things. But the things that you once did before become
Easy. Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
if you want, like, you know, if I was to say to you, and this is me knowing Vonda, like, if I was to say, is it hard for you? You'd go, no, life isn't hard. I'm crushing life. But the reason you're crushing life is because you're doing the hard things and you're doing the hard work.
Little things.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're putting in the work.
Yeah.
And that's the part, like, you know, sometimes, you know, we try to do a better job, and part of this podcast is the reason we're doing this is at times people tend to think, okay, NESTRE is for just elite athletes and perform. No, it's for the everyday human performer.
And I actually think while your business was built on the 1%, on the elites, right? I think the applicability is to the 99%.
No, 100%. In fact, it was actually built for the 99. We just wanted people to pay attention to the 1% and go, hey, you see what they're doing? We all can do this with intentionality. If we understood, and what we want people to do is we want people to look at performance more than we look at pathology. We came through an era where sick care was the norm.
Oh, it's still the norm, but we're trying to change that.
100%. And that's why that was the strategy around us, you know, kind of getting people to think about elite athletes, because their default is performance. And so we're saying, if you take that concept and apply it to everyday life, we're all performing. Our minds, our brains, our bodies are required to do something every single day. And now we have the opportunity to train, to focus on doing them at elite levels within our capacity. Being a mom is an elite performer.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I was just thinking of that example. It is a heroic force of nature to get 3 kids out the door. I'm thinking your household. 3 kids out the door, clean, fed, stuff in backpacks
I mean,
by 8 o'clock in the
listen,
morning.
I'll shout out my wife, you know, Tamika. You talk about elite performance.
Yeah.
3 children, raising 3 children.
With an entrepreneurial husband.
Who's alpha?
Master's degree, MBA, president of startup company, having to deal with me, and
Plus all the little things in between.
all
that,
like
Yeah.
she is an elite level human. And I've said it, the thing that drew me to her were the strengths that she had that were just not me. Like, I didn't understand how a human could take something from start to finish and have the same level of focus and execution throughout it all. And I would look at her in school and I'd be like, how did you do that? And she would look at me like, it's called work. It's like just
Girl
read
power.
just read the book. And I'm like, no, there has to be an easier way to do this. I spent more time trying to figure
out how not to do it.
to do work.
Yeah.
But I was just amazed at, like, everything she did, she made it look easy.
Sure.
And that was a part of her superpower where, you know, so you start thinking about everywhere in life it's a competitive sport. Like, everywhere in life is combat sport. I mean,
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that. Just a different framework, different
different
arena, if you will. It's a different arena.
every human performer is the ideal that we want people to capture. That, you know, no, so that's why, you know, in our you'll see elite athletes coming out and corporate individuals going in, or aging individuals. Everyone's coming into the neck up gym, if you will, you know, because we want people to understand that, you know, human capacity and human potential we were built for it. All of us, we have the ability to become elite at who we are and what we're doing, whether you're a musician, whether you're an accountant, whether you're an athlete, you know, whether you're a mom,
Caretaker.
you know, whether you're a high school student, whether you're, you know,
Retired.
in our wisdom age, you know, you have the ability to keep crushing life at an elite level. We want you to find your GOAT, discover what makes you the greatest you of all time, and then go operate in it in that way. And we think we could change human civilization as we know it, because the curiosity was, what if we can elevate the baseline of human potential for everybody? What if everyone had this idea and mindset that, okay, greatness is no longer exclusive to the 1%.
So do we expect too little of ourselves?
No question. I think not only the reason we expect too little of ourselves is because we've been taught that greatness is only for a select few. Well,
listen to this. I want you to speak to my people. Listen, this is not even my podcast, but this is how you and I are. We're just going back and forth. When I put something out to my audience, whether it's some knowledge or I've been known to issue challenges, like the American College of Sports Medicine says that every woman in her 50s should be able to do 11 to 20 push-ups. Not some kind of arbitrary challenge. It's because you got to be able to have strength in your arms to live well, right? Yeah. So I put this out there. We're on the Mel Robbins podcast, and she asked me, and I said that, and then she tries it, and then a bunch of people try it. Millions of women across the world try it.
Love it.
Some can do it, some can't. 90-something% of them say, oh my God, I can't do push-ups, but I am going to work on this and I'm going to show you. Yeah. Because they're coming into their goatness, right? Yeah. I am going to reach my capacity. So there was a certain percentage, and I want to talk to them because I think this is a mindset, who said to me, oh my God, why are you shaming women? Why are you challenging them? You're making them feel bad about themselves. To which I said, no, I just expect more of people. I expect that we are capable of far more than we think we are. But I want you, instead of my knee-jerk reaction to saying, what are you talking about? To say, why do we expect so little of ourselves, and how do we pivot that? Because that is the barrier that's going to keep us from living our best life in the next day.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think, and I'm speaking not just to your audience, but humans in general, because we've gotten to a place where, and it's a difficult balance. We've gotten to a place where, because we've created this idea that greatness is for a select few, the default of that is saying the most of you aren't great.
Would never get there.
And you're just, and so the response to that is we want people to say, no, you're great where you are, right? And so a part of it is individuals trying to give people an identity that, isn't being excluded from greatness. So I understand that. And it's important. Both things can be true, though. And that's the part that I think you were getting people to understand and emphasize, to your point, is the only way to move beyond your capacity. And if you choose to operate at your capacity, that's the beautiful thing about life. You can make that choice.
Yeah, you have agency. Choose that.
You can make that choice. Mm-hmm. However, what you're trying to get individuals to understand is if I challenge you to move beyond your current threshold and you accept that challenge, you're going to realize that what you thought your limits were never your limits in the first place.
Right.
And it takes individuals, how they say seeing is becoming, right? It takes individuals seeing people. And I think a part of it was great too, that if we can show people the process where it's different when you see people who can just do it versus seeing people who couldn't do it yet, but they worked through the process and they're showing that I was once here, but with someone expecting me to be better, it pushed me to getting to this next place. Yeah. And I think that's the part where I would speak to everyone in the sense that, look, we want everybody to love and value who they are. In addition, we want people to understand that there's the ability for us to push the threshold beyond what our perceived limitations are.
You speak about that too. It's like it's a process of getting to an unbreakable mindset.
Yeah.
It's a process to getting to that place. You can't expect to have everything all at once when someone says, oh, you can do it. You're like, oh, great, awesome, I can do it, and I'm going to get the results today. It's like having grace in the journey. Speaking to the process of growth is also the part that I love sharing with people. Is to instill hope and grace that like it's a journey. But if you keep believing, I know that I can't see it yet, but I know that if I continue to keep my head down, if I continue to, be mindful of how I speak to myself, the story I'm telling myself, and just take confidence. You talked about that too in your story. If you take confidence in your story, your journey, and ignore the comparison, you start to see, that one day it just keeps getting better. Yeah. And I'm like, that always keeps me going, and is something that I'm like, I want to share with anyone that's like trying to, grow, but like isn't seeing the results. It's like, you're not going to always, not the same day, but if you keep just that 1%.
Yeah. Well, I think stories are important. Your story is important. How even as a world-class athlete, you struggled with the things that you struggled with. And so I tell a lot of story in that book about women who have started out at a place that they don't even recognize themselves and worked hard enough to get to a place where they're unbreakable. I mean, there's lots of stories like that. I think it's human nature, at least in my experience, to want to work in the min-max arena. I want the maximum out of the minimum effort, I think. And for some people, maybe that works. But I think for most of us, it's this process. It's this daily commitment. It's looking for examples in the future. Like, I tell a story of a woman, Susan, who lives in Tampa in the book, who at 63 during COVID was she's my size, 181 pounds, didn't recognize herself. She's like, I used to be a different person than I am now, and she just decided that every day she was going to make the progress until this woman, bless her heart, not only did she lose 50 pounds, but she did it by training as a bodybuilder and competed in bodybuilding and won her whole category at 67. And that physical change changed her mindset, and she started doing things that she had put on the back shelf. Like her family had a harmonica band in the 70s, and she picks up her harmonica and starts playing it with bands again. And she is funny, and she wanted her own comedy show. So she created a one-act...
Limitless life.
Limitless, unbreakable.
Yes.
It's stacking successes, right? Yeah. And she could have stayed at 181, which was an irrelevant number on the scale, but it was holding her back from being progressively who she wanted to be. So I think stories are important. Yeah. I agree with you. I think the process is important.
There's a difference between shaming and showing, right? There's 100% a difference in that. And I think that, historically shaming has been a antiquated, barbaric way of people thinking they can motivate people. But that's not what you're doing. That's not who you are. I think that when we understand that, some individuals may be at a certain place where they look and see where others are and compare those things, the truth that's for everyone. And the truth is, no matter where you are on this spectrum of life, small wins, small progress can move you forward. And what we're trying to get people to understand is you are not limited to your current state. Yeah. But we're also trying to say it's a moving target, and our brains and our bodies are always creating habits. the things that you're not doing, you're creating the strength and capacity to not do them.
Yeah.
And the things that you're doing, you're creating the strength and capacity to continue to do them.
Mm-hmm.
And so the longer you don't do, the stronger you become at not doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the truth anywhere. And so what we're trying to get people to understand is you may be at a place that you hadn't done it for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Recognize it's no different for you than anyone. If you haven't done something for a very long time, you've developed the strength to not do it. If you did something today that you didn't do yesterday, that's a win. That's a win.
Yeah.
And guess what? You may not do it again tomorrow, but if you do it the day after or 2 days after, guess what? You've done it twice within a week that you didn't do in previous years.
Yeah, yeah.
You've gotten better. And if you understand that truth and let it apply itself over time, then you'll start to see the visible outcomes. You know, you'll start to experience the emotional, mental outcomes from taking that inertia and turning it. When you haven't done it for a while, it's an uphill push. But if you trust the fact that at a point this thing is going to start to turn downhill, and now I can ride the momentum of, as you were just saying, that's what we want people to understand and to get excited about, and to know that we aren't limited. I appreciate you. You're an elite level mindset coach, inspiration, executor. People can be inspired just by what you do, how you think, the way you call people higher. You need people to do that. You know, I'm where I am now because I had people in my life who expected me to be great. And I'm so thankful that, you know, I can pinpoint individuals, you know, who expected me to go get a, you know, graduate degree or a doctorate degree or go to college. Though it was their expectations that I rode the wave of to become who I am now. We want to give you your flowers in that sense, that it's phenomenal what you're doing. You're changing people's lives by giving them the expectation that they could become unbreakable. So I think it's amazing.
Thank you. I think people are worth the investment of time and effort.
I mean, it's amazing. I think this conversation was real beefy. Real beefy.
I know. I'm going to listen and take notes because I think I've got a lot to capture
this is
from
awesome.
what you've said.
Yeah, so much too, and it's just like very encouraging. And obviously, like for anyone who was just introduced to Vonda today, like spend time looking at what she's done. You've done TEDx's, right?
Yes.
I've done a lot of
She's
things.
done
I've
a
been doing
lot
this
of
for 25 years.
I'm
It's a
like,
lot of things.
She's not new to this.
No, like, but the book, truthfully, there's so much storytelling. There's so much relatability in this book, and it's definitely worth the read. And I'm really curious to see what our viewers are gonna, you know, share about what we talked about today. Yeah. So thank you for being a great mom.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
For
you
being
too.
awesome.
Yeah. Good to know you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's our episode, and thanks for listening.